What is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. I don't think I'm going to be able to match Pace's performance of the 24-hour live. However, I am here to try to add some value. Ideally, I want to try to do this every Tuesday, just underwrite some deals that we currently have, kind of bring some value, show you guys what I'm doing on the underwriting side of things. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jeff Dwyer. I am Pace and Cody's Dispo manager. I also run the JV department and help out with the fix and flip side of the business. So I kind of have my hands on a lot of different things. I definitely want to bring you guys some value and see what I can do to help those out there that were in a similar place that I was not too long ago. Just a little background on myself. Tino, the acquisitions manager, and I started out basically just us, ran into Pace and Cody. We decided to join with them, kind of help them build up both sides of their business, obviously learning to be around the best. Obviously the quickest way to cut the learning curve and, dive in and be able to get places that you want to go quickly. And I've learned so much. So I want to be able to share what I've learned with you guys. Obviously, we want to do what we can to help all the beginners out there. And for those of you that, aren't as new, but just need a little bit of guidance, that's what we're here for. So what I'm going to go over today is I'm going to go over a couple of deals. I'm going to run them on PropStream as well on MLS. So typically we do have MLS access since Cody and Laura are both agents. However, we do want to obviously show those that don't have MLS access to be able to use PropStream. So they are very familiar with the things that they're able to do, and to be able to have people that don't have the MLS access have the same resources to be able to comp deals, underwrite deals. So yeah, I'll go over some of the things that we have here. Let me see. And then for those of you that, are in the Arizona market, we actually just expanded into the Florida market, Orlando specifically. If you want a JV, feel free to send us your deals. I'm going to put a little link here. That way you can see the Podio link that it'll send it directly to me. I will underwrite it, get back to you hopefully within 24 hours. I know probably doing this video is going to, swamp me as far as trying to respond back to people. So I'll try my best to get back to you within 24 hours. Just try to be as patient as you can, because I will definitely do my best to get back to you within a reasonable time. Let's see. Let me put that on here right quick. Okay. So I'll start comping off of MLS, and then I'll transition into PropStream just so you can see the familiarities between the two. So let's go here. So this is actually one of our deals that we locked up roughly about, I'd say 3 weeks ago. We locked this one up. So 1649 West Posada Avenue. Let's see, actually screen share so you can actually see what I'm doing. All right, here we go. So let's go back over here. So this is just the MLS here in Arizona. This is our subject property here. Typically what I'll do, let me just hide this right quick, is I'll just kind of look over the details. I want to get a good idea what the square footage is. Obviously year built, subdivision. So I'll kind of glance over things just to kind of familiarize myself with the specific details on the tax record, year built 1979. And then they have an MLS posting, so I'll just go on to that. roughly review 4 2.5 bath, 1668 square feet. Subdivision park view you see there, 2-car garage. I'll look at the days on market as well, just to kind of see how the area is looking as far as, properties that are selling in that area. So I just kind of try to take in as much information as I can to get a good idea of, the property, the area, and whatnot. So what I'll do now is I will plug this into our search to be able to kind of pull the subject properties in that area. So we're just gonna copy. All right, so then now what I'll do is I will basically hone in to the region that we're going to be looking at the comps for. So I'm going to just blow this up. So typically I'll go half a mile out, not crossing any major roads. I like to just kind of stay within the square of the subject area. Ideally, I'll stay in the same subdivision as well. Just with that, obviously, like once we were selling these to a fix and flipper, these wholesale deals, the appraiser that once they do the rehab and then try to list it on the market, once they get the property appraised, the appraiser themselves are going to look, at the comps. Typically, they will look only in the subdivision within the past 6 months. I mean, if there aren't any comparable properties, I mean, they'll expand out. They'll go out to a year more. And then if they can't find anything after that, then they'll kind of go with the properties around that area. So we try to hone in on that as much as we can, just to kind of think in the mind of the appraiser. That's typically what I'll do. Obviously, for the benefit to our buyers, that once we give them the comps, we kind of give them the breakdown of the deal. They can feel assured that we're looking at it from the mindset of once they rehab the property and they list it, that we already have the intent that we're comping these deals as if we're the appraiser, just to kind of give them peace of mind. And the more business and the more deals that you do, you'll build that relationship and that trust with your buyers. So then we'll basically tone this down into this square here. So then I'll exit out there. So we're going to be looking at closed deals within the last 6 months. And then we are going to go dwelling type, single family detached, dwelling style detached. Let's see, approximate square foot. So typically with the square footage, we want to stay within 200 square feet below and above. So with this deal here, what is it here? 1658. So then we'll go back here. So let's say 1458 and 1858. So then that narrows down our results here to 11. I'll go to list. And then I will actually filter this by subdivision because I want to look in the same subdivision, like I said, simply because that's what the appraiser is going to do. Let's see here. So we got a park view as our subject subdivision. So park view. So you got a couple of here. So if you look, this is basically a comparable property as far as the type. So if you go back here, we'll go to the MLS listing. I mean, you see super similar type of property here with the whole situation going on. So I'll click here. And then I'll just basically go to the details and kind of go through it. 4th, 2.5, same as ours. Year built 1977, as you can see there. We'll go back to our subject property, 1978. So typically with that, I like to stay within 10 years of the year built, simply because you want to, make sure that it's within the same type of property construction type. So as you vary in years built, you obviously can vary as well in the type of property that it is. With the lots, I typically try to stay within 5,000 square feet of the lot size. That necessarily isn't always the case. I try to stay within that kind of those parameters with the lot size. Like I said, simply just to try to stay in the mindset of, what an appraiser would be looking at. Days on market 5. I know this is a pretty hot area here in Arizona or in Maricopa County. It's just south of Dobson Ranch. So that's a really good popular area that people are buying in. So this is actually the subject property that we used. So when I did my email blast, it's not that one there. So you can see I got the property details, everything here. So our asking price was 235 with the ARV of 310, and then I put our comparable property there. So then just to kind of run the numbers on it here, just so you can kind of see how we underwrite things. So our comparable property is that 1808 Obispo. Yeah, 1808 West Obispo Avenue. So then that's our ARV. So 310. And then we'll use 7%. So the reason why we use 7% is 3% for the seller's agent, 3% for the buyer's agent, and 1% for closing costs. So then I'll go times 0.93. So that's basically what we'll use as, then we'll go from here as far as, reducing the end buyer profit, the rehab amount, and then what we'd like to make on the assignment. So then I believe this one needed about 25 grand worth of work, 20 grand end buyer profit. And then the assignment that we wanted to make on this one, because it was a pretty high area, was around 20 grand. So you can see that's our buy price. So typically Tino and the acquisitions team, once we get these properties, they'll send us, we'll run the numbers on them, and we will give them back the buy price, our MAO of, what we'd be able to do. And then when we break down the deal, so for example, like the rehab amount of the 25,000, I'll try to give them like how I run the numbers. So I'll say, $15 a square foot off of 1668. I know those aren't the exact numbers that I use, but I'll give them the breakdown of how I ran my rehab numbers. That way they know that when they go to the appointment, they have some some flexibility to where like, oh, it needs only 13 grand to work. He ran it off of price by square foot. That's how he ran his numbers. So I give them, as they're in the property, the ability to kind of adjust the numbers and whatnot. So it's not just, black and white. There is some flexibility and, trust within myself and our acquisitions team to be able to get a good buy price down. So that way we can move these deals. So this one we made a pretty good, nice little spread on. I believe we were able to get it at about 200. The sellers were pretty motivated. We ended up moving it at about 232. So that's how on MLS I was able to run that. Go back here real quick, sorry. So now I'm going to go on to PropStream. That way you can see how we run it off of here. So 1649 West Pasado Avenue. There you go. And no, by any means, I'm not an expert on PropStream. I am still familiarizing myself with it as well. So don't be too critical on me. And also, if any of you have like tips, pointers, feel free to comment anything that you feel I could be better at. I'm all for learning, trying to, better myself to be able to bring more value to you guys. So any tips or any advice that you have, I'm totally open for it. So here is basically where our subject property is. That's kind of the road view. You can switch it to the aerial view if you kind of like to get a better, bird's eye view on it. So we'll kind of do one of these numbers. So then from here, you'll just go into the details. So on PropStream here, 42 comparable properties. It kind of gives you the estimated value of that property. Kind of gives you a couple of different breakdowns: property details, ownership information, obviously mailing address, owner name, owner 1 and 2. So there's a lot of information that you can pull from PropStream that is very helpful as far as being able to run your comps, even if you don't have MLS access. Especially since we're starting to expand into the Orlando market, we are definitely utilizing PropStream more. Luckily, since Cody and Laura are agents, we have the access to MLS, and that's typically what I comp on here in Maricopa County and our deals here in Arizona. But as we're expanding into other markets and just to be more familiar with other people, because not everybody has access to MLS. I just like to familiarize myself with, what other people have to be able to, have their opinions and kind of see where they're coming from when they're comping the deals as well. But there's not a lot of difference, to be completely honest with you, at least from the deals that I've comped on PropStream in relation to MLS. So from here, what we'll do is we'll go to comparables and nearby listings. So it will default your comparable search to 1 year out. So for us, we'll typically go just 6 months. I'll change that. Square footage, similar to what I did on the MLS, it'll be within 200 square feet. So we go at 1458 and then 1858 here. Perfect. So then now what we'll do is these are our, comparable properties. So as you can see already, there's 13 properties that are comparable. I already see the one that I used as our comp, given that it was in the same subdivision and a model match to a certain degree. So from there, I would basically, go through each one of these. I'm just going to click this one so you can see the details on it, just to be able to compare the ones that I did on MLS to PropStream. Okay, so here you go. Ownership information, property characteristics, building size, land location. You can see here that they have the subdivision name as well. So as you're going through each one of these comparable properties, you'd still be able to see which subdivision that it's in. That way you can try to hone in your comps to be able to get, very precise with, the comps that you're using to kind of base your ARVs off of. So a lot of good information here. You can actually export the comparables and nearby listings as well. I know some people like to have comps when they go onto their buy appointments, just something to reference when you're talking with the sellers. So that's good to have as well. So, you could save comps here, and then it would save to your My Properties portion on PropStream. So there's a lot of cool different things that you can do on PropStream that, you may not, obviously you can't do on MLS as well. So yeah, that's one of the deals that we did that we locked up a couple of weeks ago. That's set to close, I believe, on the 26th of this month. So that's one of them I wanted to show you guys, just to kind of give you an idea of the differences between MLS and PropStream. Kind of also the cool things that PropStream has that you can do. So obviously, mortgage and transaction history, you got your tax information here. So yeah, they got a lot of neat things that you can use and kind of mess around with to be able to utilize it to the best of your abilities. So another deal I will go over, just because this is, single family, I will comp a condo that we just locked up that's set to close this week as well. That way, I mean, condos are pretty easy because typically you want to stay within the condominium itself, but I'll show you kind of just the differences for, just these purposes here. So actually, let me see what the address was. That was 7502 East Thomas Road. That was unit 207. Let me just do this here. And then I'll answer all questions. I mean, just as I'm screen sharing, I wonder if I can actually kind of minimize my screen share. I'll try to go through all the questions here afterwards. I'm not really too familiar with StreamYard, so as I do these weekly, I'll get more educated on my end of things to be able to try to utilize it the best that I can. So let's go 7510 East Thomas Road, unit 207. Sorry, 7502 East Thomas Road. There we go. So like I said, I'll just kind of go over the tax records, kind of familiarize myself with things here. Let's see, 1981, and then I'll flip through some of the pictures to get an idea of what it looks like as far as the inside, outside, a little outdated, only 4 pictures. So now what we'll do, we will go and get it here on the quick search, kind of narrow down our comps. Just do this. All right, then we head over to the map here. So then, like I said, we're just going to stay kind of within that condo area, within the same condominium. So I'm just going to draw a little square over those. And we'll go closed properties. Close of escrow date, out 6 months. Square footage. So we'll go 940 to 1340. List. And the subdivision, we were in the Crystal Springs condominium, so that's what I'm looking for basically to run our comp or to get our ARV off of. All right, so Crystal Springs 221140, I believe that's the model match to ours, or pretty darn close. Yeah, 221140. Both second story units, so that's a plus as well. So then we'll just click this, go detail, 221140, 1984 build, 1981 build. So within, the 10 years of the build, obviously model match, same condominium. So then days on market, 3031, which isn't too bad. And then we'll just kind of filter through the photos. So it's definitely clean. Definitely looks like there's new bathroom vanities. Definitely put some work into it. So this is what we use for our ARV or for our comp to be able to run our after repair value off of. So to kind of just run the numbers on that one here for you, we'll go 235,000 times 0.93 equals 218, and then we're going to subtract the 20K for the end buyer's profit. We're going to subtract, I believe this one we ran it at 20 grand rehab. It was a little outdated, needed quite a bit of work, especially for, I shouldn't say quite a bit of work, but it did need some work for a smaller condo. I believe we ran it off like a $20,000 rehab budget. And then what we wanted to make, I believe it was 15,000. Typically our assignment fees are around like 12 to 15,000 on our end. I know that's pretty average here in Maricopa County. So 163,550 was our buy price. I think we ended up locking it up at 165, and we sold it, I think, for like 177, 178. I don't recall the exact number. So 12, 13K spread there, right around what we should be making for a typical assignment fee. So that's how that we comp that off the MLS. So same concept, just over here onto PropStream. So there's our subject property there, 7502 East Thomas Road. You see here, so we're going to go into the details. So then we'll go comparables, nearby listings. So we'll push this back. I'm sorry, not push it back, push it forward to December to make it just 6 months, half a mile, 1140. So we'll go 940. Oops. To 1340. All right, so these are all of our comparable properties. So you see here a couple of different addresses just within like the half-mile radius of our subject property. So this is within the same complex, 7510 East Thomas Road. Unit 222. So this is the same, literally the same property as the one that Unit 222. So using the same parameters that we use on MLS to be able to filter your comps that you're using to base your ARV off of. Yeah, as you can see, there was no difference between me using PropStream and using MLS to be able to get the subject property that we're running ARV off of, to be able to get good buy prices and, knowing what we're going to be able to sell these to end buyers at. So that's basically just wanted to show you the differences between MLS and PropStream, kind of how that looks, as you can see it. I'll go in and answer a couple of questions as well. Let me just stop screen sharing real quick. As you can see, we have the Podio link there for you if you wanted to send us deals. Let's see. So Yenchich, sorry if I butchered that. As far as numbers that we use for our rehabs, so we kind of have 3 tiers. So for like a lipstick rehab, we'll do $10 per square foot. So that's something along the lines of like paint, carpet, basically just something like lipstick to be able to get it ready to go. For basic cosmetic, and that's off of $10 per square foot. For cosmetic, we'll do $15 per square foot. So that's, a little bit more in depth than your lipstick. So it would be nothing structurally to the house, not, adjusting your square footage. Basically just if it needs some work kind of in all areas of the house, we'll run that off like a $15 per square foot. $20 per square, 20 to 25, depending, like obviously on the area. Will be like kind of our full rehab. So that's, kind of doing heavy duty type stuff, pulling cabinets, changing some things around, kind of, that basically it's junk. That's what we run our numbers off of there. And then like a full gut, we'd be anywhere from like 25 to 30 a square foot typically for that. Shannon, it can be creative or wholesale. We underwrite all those. So anything that you have that you want to JV on or you want us to underwrite, just send those and we can do that. Either way, wholesale or creative. If it is creative, just try to have as much of the information as you can regarding, like, if it's a subject to, try to have like the seller's PITI, how much is the outstanding principal mortgage, just those kind of details. And then if it's like a seller carry type deal, ideally, if you could just know if they want interest and how much of a down payment they would like, or if that's something that they, if they mention anything about a down payment. Let's see. So Michelle, the 20K taken out of the price for, that's the end buyer's profit. So that's basically, as we sell it to a flipper, that's the money that they're going to profit from when they do the rehab and sell the deal themselves. So we factor that into our wholesale deals. Depending on the area and obviously the price point, that can adjust as well. So like I'll go up 25, 30, even more just depending on the area and obviously like the purchase price, because I mean, if you're putting a lot of money into it and it's in like a nicer area, that number can fluctuate. And Tarek Maxi. So our buy formula, basically it's, we get our ARV numbers. We then factor in the 7%, which is the seller's agent, listing agent fees, which are 3% each, 1% for closing costs. And then then when you factor in the end buyer profit, anywhere from 20 to 30 grand, depending on the area. You factor in your wholesale assignment fee. Like I said, typically ours is anywhere between like 12 and 15K. If we get it at, a deep discount, that way we could try to, make a little bit more, but 12 to 15K is typically our average assignment here in Maricopa County. And so yeah, that's how we run our buy numbers. Yes, I can put the Podio link in the chat. Let me do this 1 second. Laurel, do you know the best way to learn how to prepare the best lists for PropStream? Is there a class? Laurel, that is a Cody question, which I can definitely poke him on and see if he would know anything like that or what resources he has. And then I can get back to you on that. So I'll make sure to follow up with him, and then I'll reach out to you and let you know if, what he has for that. Let me post this Podio link in the comments here really quick. And hopefully this brings you guys some value. I'm going to try to do this every Tuesday. I'm going to try to put an emphasis on, underwriting our current deals, our fix and flips that we have going on, kind of what we're looking for on our evaluation side of those. And then also like with the disposition side of things as well. On this live, I'm going to go over basically going off of PropStream, what we use to try to automate building our buyers list. So I'll pull cash buyers off of PropStream by zip code. And then I will basically automate those to where I'll skip trace it. And then we have our VAs that we created a trainual video to basically have them send out messages every time we lock up a deal to try to, get new cash buyers and to drum up, buyers for our wholesale deal. So I'll show you guys how I do that as well on this live today. And then like I said, for the lives for the future, I'll kind of go over other topics and kind of what we're doing within our operation on a weekly basis as far as, dispositions, our fix and flip side of things, and just underwriting deals in general. So let me get that link. Sorry. There it is. And then I believe on the Podio link, it doesn't give you a place to put your phone number. If you're comfortable putting your phone number, it's a little bit easier for me to communicate to you. If you'd rather I just emailed you, I can do that as well. Kind of your preference, but I've noticed that I haven't gotten phone numbers from the other submissions that I've gotten. So if you feel comfortable putting that in there, great, because that'd be a little bit easier for me to communicate. Go back to here. All right. So now I'll show you how we, or at least how I'm doing the pulling cash buyers off PropStream, and then basically automating it to where we're having our VAs send out these messages for us, and I'm kind of just overseeing it. So that's doing two things really. It's drumming up new buyers for our wholesale deals, and it's also basically building up our buyers list for people that we haven't, done business with. So our thought process behind that is we want to try to automate building our buyers list the most that we can, especially since we are expanding into other markets and to put our focuses there. So let me screen share here again, and then I'll show you how I do that. And it's pretty simple, honestly. It's not that hard. We use batch for our, our list lead stacking, and then also our skip tracing. I know Pace has some discount codes and free trial codes and stuff like that. I can see if I can find those and put those in as well. But they're definitely the best as far as being able to automate and kind of have everything an all-in-one to do that. So let's see here. Let's go. Share screen. Ow. All right. So I'm just going to type in a zip code. Let's see. Our recent deal we got. There we go. As you can see all our tabs here. Shout out Cody. Okay, so that was Orchard Hills. So, sorry, let me just see what that zip code was. Orchard Hills. 85351. Okay. So let's get out of here. Okay. 85351. So I'm just going to type in the zip code here, 85351. I'll pull up the zip code. As you can see, 3,225 cash buyers, and that's in the Sun City area. So what I'll do is I'll click cash buyers, and then what I'll do is I want to filter it because the cash buyers of 3,225 is kind of pretty vague. We want to get granular and narrow it down the best that we can. Excuse me. So owner occupied, we want to do no. So the reason why is obviously if they're not, the owner isn't occupying the property, it's an investment property, a rental property. So we want to narrow that down to make sure that these are properties that, cash buyers are purchasing for investment purposes. So after I click owner occupied no, I'm going to go into the ownership information, and I'm going to go off of last sale date. So I'm looking for last sale date of the last 6 months. So I'm going to go back to December, it's the 23rd, and then to current, so which is today the 23rd. Owner type all, so you can click that. Individual, corporate, mixed trust, that's fine. Interfamily transfer, so that I have any selected here. So if there's like a trust that it gets transferred into, that's fine. We want to include those as well. Absentee owner location all, so out of state, out of country, local. That doesn't matter just as long as they aren't the main person occupying the property, as long as they are not owner occupied. And then I do want to include unknown sale dates. I know sometimes like it gets recorded incorrectly. So a lot of, potential buyers could like slip through the cracks if that isn't selected. So then after I do that, I'll close out of here and it narrows it down. So now how we started, you see I have 3,225. So here it's 115 unique properties. So then what you'll do is you click that. Then you're going to add it to the list. So then we're going to create a new marketing list. And then 85351 cash buyers. And then I'll just put the date. So let's say 6/23. I'll save that. 115 properties saved. I'll close out of there. Now I'll go to my properties. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to export these. So where did we go? 85351 cash buyer, 6/23. So I'll click here. We are going to export this list. Close. Boom. Okay, so now we have the 115 properties of the cash buyers. So then what I'll do is I'll expand on these so you can kind of see the names and whatnot. So you see there's a combination since I didn't filter like individual, entity type, corporation. So you see there's a lot of mixture between just individuals' names and then like LLCs, like LLC there, Bank of America, Breckenridge Property Fund. You know, there's the iBuyers on here too, I'm sure. So for those properties that have LLCs, if you were to import that and to get it skip trace, it would not pull anything up. It may, some do. It's kind of rare that they do, but I'm sure it'll kind of link to the address and pull up some information based off of public records. But what I'll do just to try to get the most accurate data that I can, I will grab the LLC name and just look it up on the ACC website and get the owner of the entity. And then I'll plug that in under the owner name to try to just get the most accurate data that I can. So I'll just go to the ACC website, paste that there, search it. So Zahira. So then I'll just plug that in basically as her name. Go back here. So then I'm just gonna. Sorry, OCD in me. So yeah, I would basically do that through all the ones that have LLC names here. So Sun City Baseline LLC, same concept. I would just copy it, go to the ACC website, paste it. Then, so this one looks like it's like a big corporation. I don't have any information here. So a good thing is actually that this popped up this way. So sometimes when you put the ACC, like the LLC name into the ACC, there won't be a name or anything here, but there will be the statutory agent's information here. A lot of the times, not always, but a lot of the times, the statutory agent is a member of the LLC or the entity. So what I'll check for just as a double check is that this address here will match this address down here, or this address attached to the statutory agent will match the mailing address of the property that we pulled for that cash buyer. So that's a way to kind of double check, and if there's no entity information, to see if the statutory agent is actually a part of that entity. Just like I said, to try to get as much information as you can. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but you get the gist of pulling the properties off of PropStream, exporting them into an Excel spreadsheet, going through the ones that have LLC names, and basically pulling the LLC name out and then just tagging it with the owner or the entity member manager's name. So you would just go through those, and then you would basically from here go into batch. that's just if you wanted to upload it into batch there, just for lead stacking purposes. And then now you have the skip tracing portion of it here. So we would just import the contacts. It would get skip traced. Let me give you an idea of what it looks like here. Hold on. Cash buyers. So I use batch for skip tracing, the lead stacking, but for our actual outreach to these cash buyers, I use Scipio. Let me use a better example so you can see kind of what it looks like. Let me just go into my documents. Sorry. That's not a good one. I'm just trying to find a good example, because what I'll do is once I get it exported, or I'm sorry, once I get it skip trace, it'll give me all the data. So obviously like the address, like multiple phone numbers. I guess let me just do this. Let me just go here, just so we can see what it looks like after it's skip traced. So this is what it looks like after you get it skip traced. As you can see, a lot of different information: first name, last name, property address, all the other stuff is tied with that. So then you got all the phone numbers here. So what I'll do, the nice part about this is that it tells you what's a landline and what's a phone number. Now, I know that they're pretty accurate. What I'll do typically is I will only filter the mobile phone numbers. So I'll go through I'll go back typically 3 to 4 phone numbers per line. So like, for example, this one here, number 6, that's 15047 North 23rd Place. That's probably, well, I guess I could use that as an example. So what I'll do is I will filter the actual that it shows that it's a landline or a mobile, and then I'll sort it A to Z, and then I will only use the numbers that are mobile. So then I'll basically take all this information here, knowing that it's a mobile phone given off the skip trace records, and then I will basically put those into a separate Excel spreadsheet, and then I'll go back to 3 numbers. So if I'll do that for phone number 1, phone number column number 2, and then phone number column number 3. Typically, the further back I go after that, I don't get typically any responses. So I'll typically go 3 to 4, maybe. If it's a bigger list, I'll go back to 4. So I do that. So I'll pull all these phone numbers here. So then kind of going off the other sheet that I showed you, let me pull that up real quick. Ready for Scipio campaign. That's okay, perfect. So these are all people that I skip trace. This is basically what I will import into Scipio, and then send out messages, or have my VA send out messages because these are all mobile phone numbers for the cash buyers in that area. So like I said, what I'll do is I'll filter it by mobile phone number, basically copy that information, paste it into here. So that would be from here to here, for example. And then I would go to the next line item, which would be this one here. Then I would do the exact same thing. Sort sort it, and then I would basically pull these phone numbers along with, 14 to 27's information, since I see that that's highlighted. So I would do something like that just for purposes of explaining. So then I would do like that. Let me just go boom, boom. So I have to go paste special, and then it might freeze for a second, and then it'll let me do it. I don't know why my computer's weird when it comes to stuff like this. But basically, yeah, it should paste there, and then from there, I would basically do the exact same thing, and then I would 14 through 26, since those are highlighted, I go to the second line item. Where's that phone number one? So I would pull these 14 to 26, copy those, and then put those in here. So my computers act a little funky. Typically, those will just post no problem. I don't know why mine's not letting me for whatever reason. Yeah, but those would post there. Basically, you're just taking the information from the other spreadsheet, and then, like I said, just filtering it by mobile. You could do it with the landlines in there. I'm pretty confident that Batch has the accurate data when it comes to whether it's a mobile phone or a landline. So that's just how I'm filtering out the mobile phone numbers from the landline numbers, taking the mobile numbers once I filter it, putting those over, and then taking obviously the first name, last name, and the property address, filtering those, and then basically creating, as you saw the name of my spreadsheet there, it's 85202 cash buyers ready for Scipio campaign. Once I have basically a list similar to this one here, I will then, and this was like a smaller area that I did there, I'll go over into our Scipio. And then we would go campaigns. And you can see I have a couple of them already right here. Drip campaigns. You would create one, and then you would basically just, 85202 cash buyer outreach, initial outreach. And campaign description, cash buyers off PropStream, 85202. And then basically what I would do then is, you can do a lot of different things. I like to do remove contact from campaign if they send you a message, because you can then just start having the conversations with them once they respond. It'll kind of put that as complete. And then you could like add keywords. So you could do like, if they say stop, you could put it like into a do not call or do not text or whatever. So there's a lot of different things you can do from there. Basically what I would do is like start campaign. You can wait, you can set it out to, like, if you wanted to wait a day or two in order to send the campaign. I normally, if I know I'm going to do it right away when I get this set up, unless it's like late at night, then I'll set it up for the following day. That way I could try to automate it the best that I can, or like utilize my time the best way. I'll set it up at night. If I like if we lock it up late, obviously you're not going to send out mass messages like at 10 o'clock at night, whatever the time may be. I'll just have it to where it'll send out like first thing in the morning or something like that. So then the message body, it'll say something along the lines of, my name is Jeff. I saw you on a recent cash transaction in 85216. I'm just throwing zip codes out there. Sorry if that's confusing. Just seeing if you were looking at another off-market property, and then kind of give some details on it. 2,000 square feet, needs X amount of work, new AC, 7-year-old roof, the property address, and like let me know if you're interested. So I try to not bombard them with so much information, but at the same time, I want to give them enough information to where they're gonna, it'll pique some interest, and then they'll respond back, either go to hell or yeah, send me more details, or whatever the case may be. And then I'll put a bit.ly link. So basically a Dropbox, but I use bit.ly just to kind of condense the link. So that's what I use for when I do that. As you can see, all of our kind of, yeah. So that's how I utilize PropStream for cash buyers. Basically, just exporting them off of PropStream, getting them imported into batch, skip traced, and then I will. And Scipio is just one platform that we use. I personally like it because I can set it up to do drip campaigns, and I for me it's just the most user friendly. I haven't tried too many other ones. Um, yeah, let me kind of go through some questions here now. Let's see. Let me turn my screen share off. Let's see. Let's see. Jacob Johnson, if you can only find one subdivision comp in the sold date range of 6 months, do you just go off of that one comp? Ideally, I would like to get more than one comp. I'm just a firm believer of sticking within the subdivision simply because that's what an appraiser is going to go off of. If I can get other comps like in subdivisions outside of that kind of coincide with that one comp within that subdivision, that gives me a little bit more peace of mind. But I typically would, especially if it's not like a huge days on market. So like if it was that one comp and it was like anywhere from like 45 to like 90 days on market, I would feel a little bit better trying to pull another comp outside of that subdivision, still within a half-mile radius, but not crossing over any major roads, if that helps answer your question. Let me see. Let's see. Victor Miller, how's COVID affected actual closings? As far as like the buyer's commitment to closing on the deal, or are you talking like from a title perspective? As far as affecting closings, we've honestly haven't slowed down too much with the COVID stuff going on. I think our biggest thing is initially when the COVID started that a lot of buyers weren't buying or they weren't pulling the triggers. So I know that was kind of at least what I saw on my end, since I typically handle the disposition side of things. I know it had to be kind of a smoking deal for a buyer to really pull the trigger. And even then, it was kind of like I'm not going to pull the trigger till it's like last minute. I know, like a couple of days prior to close of escrow. So it was nothing like to where they would commit, or excuse me, they wouldn't commit early. It was kind of like wait to the last minute. And then, if it's a great deal, I'll definitely pick it up. Let's see. Is there... Bilal. So is there a way to scrub that list even further or remove everything except for the mailing address and name? Let me kind of expand on yours. Sorry. Can you just choose columns? Bilal, I believe you can just choose columns when you export the list. I just haven't done it that way. That's not how I was taught to do it. So I just kind of go with just exporting the whole thing. I just try to like have as much data. So what I'll do is I'll kind of save it in steps. So I'll like export it and then save it like all the raw data, and then I'll like kind of fine tune it from there. Save it. It's all like when I save things, like that's why you could see it like it was pretty specific. Like let me go into my folders here. So like buyers contact Scipio ready. So that was like once I exported it from batch, but it wasn't ready to be skip or sent through a Scipio campaign. It was just like all the raw data that I had to go through and basically filter out the mobile phone numbers once I go by a column to get the mobiles separated from the landlines. And then basically it was the cash buyers ready for Scipio campaign. So that's like once I have just the name, property address, and the phone number. So I try to like do it in steps. That way, for whatever reason, if I needed the data or if I needed something, I could reference back to it. Oh, you can't really see that though, huh? Sorry, I realized I didn't have share screen. So this is what I was referring to. So you see I kind of have it like in stages. So like So 85031 buyers contact Scipio ready. So that just means like I was saying, I've already exported it from batch, but I need to get it to where I need to filter the data. And then like cash buyers ready for Scipio campaign. That's when I actually went in and pulled the mobile numbers away from the landline numbers within that column, and then separated obviously like just the name and the property address. So let me do. And then let's see. Michelle, why do you use Scipio instead of batch leads? So many programs and software to pay for. Honestly, Michelle, I believe you. I mean, I would rather use batch. I haven't familiarized myself with it, which shame on me. I should. I've kind of just done it through Scipio. That's kind of what I'm familiar with. I'm going to start transitioning to do it through batch. So once I do it through them, I can put another video on, or that could be another week where I do it through batch, and that way you can kind of have everything on one platform and not have to have a million different subscriptions. And then also on your question regarding the text message, I mean, you can kind of customize it how you want, but it's something along the lines of, hi, this is for you. Hi, this is Michelle. I saw you on a cash transaction in zip code or in 85216. I'm just reaching out to see if you'd be interested in another off-market property in that area. And then you can kind of give a little brief summary, 3.2, 1150 square feet, needs X amount of work, or, needs flooring, paint. And then you can give the address and then just like a link to view pictures. Let's see. And then I'll let me see if I can repost the link again in here. That way, for those that it should be on the comment section, but I could repost it just so you have it. Let me just grab that really quick. And I hope this brought you guys some value. Yet again, I'm fairly new with the PropStream. I'm still familiarizing myself with it. To be completely honest, I think Pace wanted me to come on here because, to be honest, I've only been doing this for maybe not even a full year. Just kind of going and limitless action, surrounding myself with the right people. The squad up, the squad up mentality. So I think me being on here and teaching and showing you guys what I'm doing within this wholesale company and within Pace and Cody's business, A, is helping myself learn, being able to teach it to others and being more comfortable in that role. And then B, kind of showing you guys that it doesn't take much to kind of get into a position to where you feel like you're learning, you're growing, and that you're able to do these things. And ultimately, we all want to be financially free and learn this kick-ass business and not have to work our 9 to 5s. I still work a 9 to 5 job, so I'm doing all this while working at a hospital. Just trying to transition out of that. So I think me doing this hopefully can give you guys some value. A, most off, we want to give you as much value as we can, and then B, that it doesn't matter your circumstances and your situation. You can work a full-time job and still do this and still put yourself in a position to be successful. So I hope me doing this can really help people out. And I'm all about the Pace mentality of being a giver. And I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to do this for 24 hours straight, but I think I can at least do an hour or two, hour and a half every Tuesday. Let's see. Jonathan Mark. Yes, Bitly is for our Dropbox photos. So I will, here, I'll just share my screen with you real quick. So yeah, so I'll pull up our Dropbox really quick just to show you. It's really simple. Sorry, my computer is being a little slow. Here, let me try again. Sorry. Let's try that again. Bitly's, that's a good question, actually. As far as Bitly, I will have to get back to you on that. I'm kind of making a list of people I need to follow up with. So yeah, basically all you do, obviously just click whatever property that you're wanting to share, then just share, just copy the link, and then just go over to Bitly. And then just create. And it is, oh, there you go. I take that back. Free account. So create, and then just paste it in here, and then just create it. And then there you go. And then you could just save it. So you can see here like title if I wanted to save and whatnot. So I actually already have that one saved, so that's why it's not giving me the option to. But then yeah, you could just see all the different properties we have here. So then when you send it to the when you do that drip campaign or that text message outreach to those buyers, it's not a huge link. It's just like a nice little condensed link for that. So let me get out of here. See, I think that's all the questions. So yeah, I guess for today I'll stop there. Feel free to reach out to me. I think my IG tag, I'm not the most up to date, but I will respond. Let me see if I can put that back on there. There you go. That's my Instagram handle. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'll try to get to you as quick as I can. Also, like if there's other things that you want me to try to go over next week, I'd be happy to. Just feel free to like drop a comment or something that you want me to try to go over regarding like disposition, cash buyer list building, disposition questions, anything like that that you can think of that might be helpful. Yeah, I'll see what I can do to help out any way that I can and try to bring you guys some value. Scott, any specific area in Florida? We're typically just in the Orlando market right now. If you do have something else out there, feel free to send it. Obviously, we have a lot of connections given Pace's outreach. So it may not be something that we can buy, but it may be something that, we know somebody that we can help you move it, or somebody else may be interested in it. So definitely feel free to send me what you got. I'm sure as I'm starting to do more of these, I'll get some more responses and more people sending me deals. So I'm trying to shoot for you'll have a response within 24 hours. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm going to try to stick to. So if you don't hear from me after 24 hours, feel free to poke me, and I'll do what I can to get back to you. So appreciate you guys. I hope you guys took something from this, and I will see you next week. I'm going to try to keep it at 1 p.m. That's Central Standard Time, Arizona time. So next week will be 1 p.m. Feel free to like hit my IG handle or anything like that, or leave some more comments if there's any other things that you want me to go over regarding disposition, underwriting deals, JV side of things as far as us. And yeah, I'll try to go over as much as I can next week. I appreciate you guys and hope you guys have a good rest of the week.